that feeling when some ideas just click? When a piece of music or a story feels like it was written just for you, while others just completely miss the mark? We tend to think that communication is all about sending a really clear message. But today, we're going to dive into a theory that's, well, it's pretty out there. It suggests that real connection has nothing to do with sending information at all. Instead, it's all about geometry and the strange, beautiful power of our shared flaws.
So here's the roadmap. First, we'll look at a huge problem, how our mental and physical worlds are totally separate. Then we'll get into something called the equation of viability, which is like a hidden law for what makes any idea last. That's going to lead us to the theory's wildest secret, the incredible power of imperfection. From there, we'll see how those imperfections are the key to how we resonate with each other. And finally, we'll wrap up with what all this means for, well, the physics of meaning itself. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, a problem of separate worlds. Let's start with a puzzle that has stumped thinkers for literally centuries. Think about it. An idea in your head. It has no weight, no real location. But an action, like picking up a cup, that's all about weight and location. It's like they exist in two completely separate universes. So how on earth does a signal cross that impossible gap? I mean, yeah, we can talk about neurons firing, but that doesn't really get to the core of the mystery, does it? And here is the theory's absolutely explosive answer. It just throws the whole idea of sending data back and forth right out the window. Instead, it says something way more poetic, almost geometric. It says we connect not because of what we have, but because of what we lack. Now, to get your head around that, we need a totally new way of looking at things.
So, to understand how these imperfections can align, we have to look at ideas themselves differently. This theory we're exploring, the general theory of resonance, or TGR, says that any system that lasts, whether it's an idea, a personality, even a company, has to be what it calls a viable form. This concept of a form is our basic building block here, and it's not a physical shape. It's any structure of meaning that actually endures. Your personality? That's a form. A scientific theory is a form. The Constitution is a form. And, according to TGR, every single one of these is built from the exact same 4 ingredients. So what are these ingredients? Well, as you can see, the first 3 make total sense, right? For an idea to survive, it's got to be able to grow. That's extension. It needs to hold itself together logically. That's maintenance. And it has to actually affect the world. That's propagation. But it's this 4th one, the residue, that just changes the whole game. The theory insists that every stable system must have a built-in necessary flaw, a piece that doesn't quite fit, an internal paradox right at its heart. And this chart just illustrates the central law so perfectly. The TGR says that for any viable system, the sum of these 4 functions always has to equal 1. It's basically a zero-sum game. If a system puts too much energy into maintaining itself, it can't grow or act. If it grows too fast, it might just fall apart. And this is the crucial part. Every stable system has to dedicate some of its resources to its own imperfection, its residue. So this brings us to the most radical, most fascinating part of the theory. Let's zoom in on that one weird slice of the pie, the residue. I mean, why on earth would a stable, successful system need a built-in flaw just to survive? Okay, here is the mind-bending answer. According to this theory, a system that's perfectly coherent, with 0 internal contradictions, a system where that residue is 0, is a closed loop. It's like a flawless crystal. It's beautiful, it's complete, and it is totally, utterly incapable of interacting with anything else. It's informationally dead. So the flaw isn't a bug, it's a feature. Get this, it's the system's point of contact. It's the API to the rest of the universe. An idea that has answered every single question has nowhere else to go. There's no way for anyone else to plug into it. That little bit of imperfection is exactly what keeps it alive and open and able to connect. Okay, so now we can finally understand what resonance actually is. If connection needs an imperfection, then the way we connect must have something to do with the shape of that imperfection. This slide just lays out the 2 models so perfectly. The standard way we think about communication is about sending data to reduce uncertainty. Like filling an empty cup. But the resonance model just flips that completely on its head. It says true connection isn't about filling a gap. It's about finding another system that has the exact same shaped gap as you do. It's more like 2 puzzle pieces just clicking together. Now, don't let the fancy notation here scare you off. The idea behind this is actually incredibly simple and kind of beautiful.
Isomorphic just means having the same shape. So the theory is saying that two systems, let's call them A and B, will connect, they will resonate, only if their core imperfections have the exact same structure. It's not about what they know, it's about the shape of what they don't know.
And here's how we can really picture it. Imagine my mind, System A, is wrestling with a very specific problem. Let's say a triangular-shaped hole in my understanding. And your mind, System B, just happens to have a hole of the exact same triangular shape. So when I express my idea, you don't just get the information. No, you recognize the shape of my problem as your own. That click of recognition, that perfect alignment of what we both lack, that is resonance. That is the moment an idea actually crosses the void.
So what does this all mean for us? I mean, if connection is really about the shape of our deepest questions and not the content of our answers, that has some pretty profound implications for how we should try to communicate and connect with each other.
The theory actually gives us a really powerful word for this practice, kenosis. It's the act of deliberately emptying your message of your own ego, your opinions, your style, all of that noise. The whole point is to reveal the pure geometric shape of your core imperfection so that other people can see it and maybe, just maybe, recognize it as their own. And this leads to a pretty incredible paradox, right? To have the greatest impact, to become truly universal, you have to make yourself smaller. You have to get out of your own idea's way. The more you push your own ego, the more you just muddy the very structure that another person needs to see to be able to connect with you. So real communication isn't self-expression, it's a tough, rigorous act of self-effacement. And that brings us to the final and maybe most challenging takeaway. If resonance is really an alignment of our deepest vulnerabilities, then the path to real connection isn't about being more perfect or more right. It's about having the courage to show the precise shape of our own incompleteness. So the final question this theory really leaves us with isn't what you need to add to connect with others, but what are you willing to let go of?